Hello again, my name is Rob, and today from inside the PremiumBeat studio, I'm following up my first car rig tutorial by explaining how I built a side mount and giving a real-world example of its use. It wasn't long before I wanted a way to mount my gimbal to the side of a vehicle and nervously close to the ground. Attaching something to the side of your car is very dangerous, and I do not recommend freely driving around public roads like the first $30 build is capable of doing. My side rig is made from acclaimed material and was simple to make, but you will very likely need to develop your own rig based on the shot you desire and the vehicle at hand. I found some perfectly sized shelf supports lying around the house along with a set of bolts. I cut a platform the same size as my last video, drilled the holes, and attached the supports, and boom, I have my very own side rig. This would potentially cost me another $50 or so in materials. One great tip from our viewers is to use self-locking bolts denoted by the plastic inside the nut. You'll want to make sure you use the right size for these and bring some tools for tightening. It only takes about 15 minutes on set to tear down and reassemble the entire rig with different parts for the desired setup. But how does something like this perform on a production with a goal in mind? So I decided to finally produce a small commercial-like concept I had been developing with a high school friend of mine that builds and races some beautiful motorcycles. The first thing I discovered in my tests at home was that quad suction cups were not going to work for the side of a car. Most cars today have plenty of curves, and getting all 4 points attached is basically impossible. So I purchased the dual dent pullers to keep things simple. Next was the right attachment point on a car that will provide the most horizontal angle with enough space from the ground or things like speed bumps. I have a truck that provided the best surface while giving enough clearance from the ground. We tried other cars on set, but were having trouble attaching the rig with strong suction. We added toe straps to ensure that plenty of force was being applied to keep the rig attached. My setup includes a Ronin MX, GH5, Sigma 18-35 EF lens, an aperture deck lens regain, Cinegear's single channel rattlesnake follow focus, and an IO Gear wireless video transmitter. There are many reasons behind these gear choices, and in the next video, I'll describe these in detail, along with how I set up inside the car using car battery only. But from here, I will focus on the production itself. However, I will describe the gear in more detail in my blog post for those of you who would like to learn more about my choices immediately. I decided on a nearly empty parking garage as our location. Location scouting on the same day and time as my scheduled shoot confirmed lighting needs and the traffic to expect. Public parking garages are ideal for tests like this since they inherently provide some safety. You're not dealing with heavy through traffic, can monitor cars with a spotter at an entrance, and can find many that only have one-way traffic. The last thing you need to worry about is crashing headfirst into another car. Also, they are covered. We were in fact snuck up on by a giant rain cloud, because Texas, that nearly hit us as Matt unloaded his motorcycle and I was attaching the gimbal. And luckily I got everyone a level down before we were completely set up. But I still got drenched while moving the last items from the craft table. So that's why I look all sweaty, and I was also really sweaty. You will need a crew of at least 3 people, not including your talent. One person to drive the car, another to operate the gimbal, and hopefully someone to pull focus. Create a route, know how to get back to first position or back to 1, and explain what will happen to everyone. For instance, I told my crew that we would drive to the bottom and then immediately back up to the top, where we would stop and discuss another run or take a break. The only direction given during driving was slow down or speed up. The major difficulty ended up being the G-forces as we made each turn. I chose this parking garage for many reasons, but left wishing that the areas between turns were a bit longer. The G-forces in the turn made it extremely difficult to keep the camera pointed on my subject. This skill is something only real-world experience can teach you to overcome, and I was about 85% locked on by the end of the shoot. The parking garage was a bit small overall, but Matt was incredible at judging space. Please do not ask anyone without similar professional experience to provide any type of stunt work. I'm very grateful to have such a great crew. Carlos was on top of focus and helped provide some great direction. Alan was always calm as he drove while making adjustments when not capturing photos or video. And I was very grateful to have JP and his friends to also record video of us working. I hope you enjoyed this 30-second spot and remain on the lookout for my next video, which will cover all the gear inside the car.